Hello! The holiday season is officially upon us, and with it comes the frenzy of list making, shopping, and gift giving. If you're anything like me, this part of the season can feel stressful, expensive, and ultimately a bit at odds with the actual joy of gift giving. But over the years, I have found a way to make gift giving more personal, more fun, and most serotonin boosting of all, more affordable. If you've spent time on this channel in the past, you've already guessed it, but the answer, as is so often the case, lies at the thrift store. So welcome to my ultimate thrifted gift guide. I think it's gonna be a blast. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, I have all my needs met. I have coffee, I have a smoothie, I have my notes. Let's get into it. I love gift giving so much. I think it's such a wonderful way to kind of funnel intentionality towards the people you care about. I think it's an incredibly wonderful tradition to have year after year, a period of time that's focused on thinking of other people and giving them things that will be meaningful to their lives. At its very core, I believe that's what gift giving is. But as we all know, this time of year can feel very like consumerism heavy. It feels like we're getting all of this messaging up, down, and all around town. Buy this, buy that, buy, new. And I think it can start to feel like a wash of one-dimensionality, and that's when it can get stressful, and that's when it can feel like compulsory and who cares? And I'd like to care. So here's my list of suggestions. Sarah, stop talking, get on with it. Vintage glassware. Thrift stores, antique stores, consignment shops are usually lousy with beautiful colored glass. Oftentimes, I feel like the special sauce that makes a gift great lies in the intersection between beauty and function. So gorgeous glassware is right on message with that philosophy, and I just think you can't miss. There are myriad beautiful options. You can find gorgeous amber glass, smoked glass. I've been really into sort of this like mucky eggplant glass. I found these amazing blown glass tumblers at a consignment shop recently, and I'm obsessed with them. This like muted, plummy, brownie eggplant color I just think is so gorgeous, and I think a set of these would be an incredible gift to receive. And my memory is that I only spent like 20 bucks on the set of 6 glasses. If you're not into colored glass, you can usually find beautiful cut crystal. Sometimes you can find glassware with lovely etching on it, gold trim glasses, a really cool bar set. There's something very opulent about glassware specifically. It feels like a really fancy, luxurious gift to receive, and because it's so ubiquitous at thrift stores, you can really pack a big punch for not much money. If you want a suggestion on an era to look for, I typically keep my eyes peeled for things that look like they're from the 50s or 60s. Aesthetically, that's what I have found to be the most interesting for me, but you find what you like. It's a very stylish gift to give, it's very, very easy to find, and it's very customizable to the tastes of the person for whom the gift is being purchased. And it might inspire them to invite you over for a cocktail. And who's mad about that? Not me. Okay, vintage matchbooks. I think this is a slam dunk thing to keep your eyes peeled for at the thrift store because it's a little touch that can be added to so many things, and it's just so charming. I have bowls and bowls of these around my house, and they're just so much more pleasant to look at and interact with than a lighter, than a big, ugly plastic lighter. I mean, I know beautiful lighters exist, but for the most part, we're using Bic lighters like we're in dorm rooms. Most antique stores or like really vintage leaning consignment shops will be lousy with them, and typically they're sold for less than $1 a piece. I think these make great stocking stuffers and or like addendums to other gifts. You could attach like your to and from label to a matchbook and have that taped onto a present so that they get like a little bonus treat. It's almost like a party favor on top of their gift. Obviously, matchbooks make a great addition to any candle-based gift that you might be giving. And if you're looking to make the candle idea a little bit more special, I highly recommend DIYing a hand-poured candle. There are some amazing resources online where you can learn how to do this. You can go to a thrift store and source some cool mugs, some cool glassware, something that's really personal to the person that you're giving it to. Make your own candle however you want it to smell. pour it in, and then you have this beautiful handmade gift to which you can attach a matchbook. Now, if making your own candle feels like a bridge too far, which I understand, not all of us have that time on our hands. I actually have a friend who has a candle making business that is exactly that. She goes to thrift stores and estate sales and vintage shops and gets beautiful vintage mugs and vases and bowls, makes the most addictively deliciously smelling candles, pours them into the thrifted vessels and sells them. I'll link her site below. It's called Burn Boss. It's just a wonderful small business to support, and Emma, who runs it and makes all the candles, is just the best. One of my very favorite mugs came from a Burn Boss candle. This was a mug that she thrifted, poured a candle in, sold it to me, and now I have my favorite mug that I'm confident you've seen in many, many videos. What I really like about that specific like gift bundle idea is that each one of those things in isolation is maybe not that special. Like if you just gave someone a box of matches, they would be like, just a candle is nice, but maybe a little bit impersonal. But by going through all of those steps and pairing those three things together, you're handing the person a really thoughtful, well-composed gift that demonstrates a ton of care and intentionality. And that's a home run as far as I'm concerned. And then they get to play with fire, which is fun. Safely. They get to play with fire safely. Oh, this is a really fun one. Cookbooks. Cookbooks specifically are an amazing thing to thrift and make wonderful gifts. Whether you have somebody on your list who is a big cook or just somebody who really loves food, unless the person detests cooking, a cookbook makes a beautiful thing to receive. They tend to just be really like hefty, beautiful pieces to have in one's home. They're usually filled with gorgeous pictures and they're very, very useful. So you're really, again, finding that nice intersectionality between beauty and function, which is right over center plate for a fantastic gift. What a great sports metaphor, huh? Every thrift store I have ever been to is like lousy with cookbooks. I don't know why people are getting rid of their cookbooks. It seems crazy to me, but nevertheless, they're at the thrift stores and you can buy them. Most general thrift stores will have a dedicated book section with a pretty robust selection of cookbooks within it. You can also obviously go to dedicated secondhand bookstores like Half Price Books or whatever local shops are in your area. Thriftbooks.com is an amazing resource if you have a specific book in mind that you want to search for and buy secondhand. And new cookbooks, because they're so like highly produced, are so expensive. So by buying them secondhand, you're still delivering that amazing value of a cookbook and you're saving yourself a bunch of money. Some of my very favorite gifts I've ever received have been cookbooks. They're wonderful things to look through. I actually think a cookbook makes a beautiful coffee table book. So even if the person in your life doesn't like to cook but does like beauty, find a cookbook with some beautiful pictures in it and they can put it on their coffee table and, you know, isn't that festive? Wouldn't that be nice to look at? I think so. And this is a slight sidebar, but I think books in general make beautiful gifts, whether they're cookbooks, novels, memoirs, books of poetry, and you can always find an awesome selection at the thrift store. I recently found a beautiful leather-bound anthology of the first 3 Anne of Green Gables books, which if you've been with me for a while, you know, it's very, very important to me. And obviously this is something that I bought for myself, but just imagine someone who loves me was at the thrift store around Christmas time and found this. They'd think, oh my gosh, this is perfect for Sara. My shopping's done. Hooray. I would have bought this anyway, but what really tipped it over the edge was that this one is inscribed, which is so special. I love finding books with inscriptions in them. It says, "For Megan, love Patty and Dad, Christmas 1992," which is very, very close to the year I was born. I was born in 93, so it's almost spooky. Anyway, I think this would make a beautiful gift for me, but I offer it as inspiration to keep your eyes peeled for a similar situation for somebody else. My mother always told me, don't buy yourself things around the holidays because that makes it harder for us. It's true. This feels like an exceedingly obvious one, but I have to say it. Records. Vinyl makes just an amazing gift if you have somebody who listens to records in your life. You just can't miss with the gift of records. And the world is just awash with wonderful secondhand record shops. I have a relatively small but, growing record collection, and coming down on Christmas morning to a stack of records would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think there's something particularly lovely about giving music as a gift. It's the kind of thing that will probably be on in the background as you're cleaning up after Christmas morning or making dinner or what have you. So it's something that like the whole group can enjoy after the gift is given. And while I know that vinyl is having a resurgence and there is new vinyl to find in the world, I personally still think that vintage records are the way to go. I have a mix of old and new, and my old records are far and away my favorite. Most cities will have a solid handful of record stores that have a wide selection of secondhand vinyl. My favorite record store has a whole room of discounted records where the records are all $1 a piece. So you could buy someone a stack of 20 records for less than it'll cost you to buy lunch that day, and they'll feel like they've received a really abundant present. Okay, this is a fun one. Little boxes, sweet little vessels. They tend to be really easy things to find at the thrift store, and it's the kind of thing that you can just sort of keep like a rolling watch for anytime you're in a secondhand shop. I think they make really great bonus gifts. If you have a smaller gift to give someone, thrifted or new, putting it inside of a beautiful thrifted vessel that's made of glass or ceramic or wood is just an extra little low lift touch that adds a bit of texture and personality to the gift. So much better than a cardboard box, and it can dress something up just to make something feel extra special. This is a little amber glass box that I got, I don't even remember when, and it holds a bunch of my stitch markers and things for knitting, but it's a useful little knickknack that I love having in my home. And if I received this as a gift with maybe a piece of jewelry or I don't know, something like a practical little something, whatever might fit in this, I'd be thrilled. I'd be absolutely thrilled. An example I can think of is if you're giving somebody AirPods or something, which is a great, not to say that's not a great gift, it's a great gift, but there is something sort of cold and impersonal about tech. But if you could find a beautiful ornate enamel box in which to put the AirPods, it's an unnecessary little step, but it just makes it feel a little bit more textural and personal, and it might help warm up what could feel like a bit of a utilitarian gift. It's a tiny touch, it's a little bonus gift, but I do think it makes a nice thing. Okay, photo frames. Secondhand and vintage frames are obviously fantastic things to look for when you're at the thrift store or the consignment shop, and I think can be the basis of a slam dunk, really thoughtful gift to give someone. You can thrift a frame and put it around any number of very meaningful things. Obviously, the most logical and standard thing to do would be to frame a photo, and that's perfectly nice, but it's also an opportunity to get a little bit creative with what you put in the frame. I've done this by framing some handwritten poetry that I know the recipient will find resonant and meaningful. You could frame a ticket stub from a special night out with that person. I was once the recipient of a framed public theater branded plastic rain poncho that came from an evening where I went to see Shakespeare in the park and got rained out, and it was a great memory, and then it was beautifully framed and now will be on my wall forever. The sky is really the limit for what you can put in a frame. If you can make it flat, you can put it in a frame. It's a really beautiful commemorative gesture, and then also you've handed somebody something beautiful to put on their wall. And who's mad about that? Sourcing wall decor is a whole stressful process in and of itself. So if you can do some of that work for them and give them something that is not only beautiful but hyper personal and meaningful to them, you've knocked it out of the park. They will love you forever. That's what I think. If you are looking for a stunner, grand gesture, high impact gift for someone you know very, very well, looking for specific items that evoke positive childhood memories is an incredible gift to give someone. If there's a piece of vintage cookware that reminds them of family dinners, maybe a book that they remember their parents reading to them, a piece of jewelry that looks like something their grandmother had, it can be so special and so fun to hunt down those vintage family relics and present them as a gift. I shared these mugs in my previous video about decorating for Christmas that my former partner hunted down for me at the thrift store. They're the exact same mugs that my family used around Christmas time while I was growing up, and while my parents still have that original set, I get to have my very own, and I treasure them. It was my favorite Christmas gift that year. I once had a friend who lost an entire box of treasured family memorabilia, glassware, vintage cookware, dishware in like a tragic FedEx accident. So one year for Christmas, I reached out to members of his family and asked for photos. I sort of sneakily asked him for descriptions of the things that had been lost and pieced together a pretty comprehensive list of what was in that box and went on Etsy and eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and I hunted down, in some cases, exact replicas of what had been lost. In places where that wasn't possible, I found things that were very evocative of the vibes of those pieces. It's without question my favorite gift I've ever given anybody. It was so much fun to put together and it felt so wonderful to see the impact when I gave the gift. It felt like a really meaningful expression of care for somebody that I loved, which just seems to be the very like crux of gift giving. Obviously that's like a hyper specific example, but I bet there's a version of that kind of mindset that you can apply to somebody who's close to you. And you're gonna make their year. There's something about like artifacts from childhood and family that just hits in a very specific way. And it's a lovely, lovely gift to give someone. Generally speaking, I would recommend hitting up consignment shops first. They tend to be a really nice midpoint between like a standard thrift store like a Goodwill or like a true antique store. So I feel like a consignment shop that has a good mix of homewares, general knickknacks, furniture, things like that is a really great default position to start at when you're hitting the secondhand market for gift giving. I find sort of the slow, open-minded stroll around the consignment or antique store a really great way to find like cool, unique gifts for people. I really love to like clear an hour or two and just wander and let things sort of wash over me. I've found some of the best, like hyper specific, really thoughtful, really unique gifts that I've given people that way. Oftentimes I'll just walk into the store with like the list of the names of the people on my list in mind and then just see what reminds me of them. You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at what you'll find that way. If you're looking for online resources, Etsy, eBay, and thrift books are all fantastic places to start, especially if you're looking for something specific. Having the added benefit of the search bar just helps to sort of mitigate some of the stress that can accompany like searching for a gift on the secondhand market, because who wants gifting to be stressful? It should be fun. It should be fun and lovely and meaningful. That's all we're accepting this holiday season. This has been such a fun list to put together. I love gift giving and I love deploying my obsession for secondhand things towards making the people I love feel thought of and appreciated around the holidays. Let me know down in the comments if you have any ideas for secondhand gift giving. If you liked this video, like this video. If you're not subscribed and you'd like to be subscribed, I would love that too. Leave a comment, say hello. I love having all of you here. Most importantly, and most of all, I hope you're taking excellent care of yourselves. And I'll be back with another video for you very, very soon. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Goodbye.